On this week's show, Spice Girls Artist Series drops and break records, and Australia launches.
And could there be a new generation tablet on the way? And much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 45 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I am Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined today by our Pelo community celebrity, Tony Sinkinson, better known to most on the leaderboard as Cinco. Welcome, Tony. And thank you so much for filling in for John while he is off on vacation. But welcome.
Well, thank you. It's an absolute pleasure, a privilege, an honour to be here. I'm a bit nervous, so go easy on me, Amanda. I'm going to be following your lead right the way through and looking forward to, filling John's shoes for a week.
I love it. And let me tell you, Tony, you are filling your own shoes. You're going to be awesome. If I can tell you, folks, for those of you who are new to Pelo Buddy TV, I think that I can quite comfortably say, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but I think that I can quite comfortably say that Tony has watched all 45 episodes.
I'm 100% up to date. Never missed an episode. Always catch them on a Sunday. Right up to date with all things Pelo Buddy TV.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for being such a wonderful support of us. And of course, we had the privilege of you being interviewed on the show back in the day, and now to have you side by side, helping out and being part of this week's show is truly my honor. You said it was your honor. It is my honor. So
thank you.
No question. So you've had a good week. Has it been a good week for you in Peloton world?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a busy week as always, all things strength, all things bike. And I know how committed you are to the community. Sue and I went and visited one of our good friends, Cycling Miss Daisy, earlier in the week, one of Ben's Army moderators, and spent some time with her, which was amazing. And, now that the sort of COVID restrictions are beginning to lift, we're beginning to be able to get out there, meet people. I've seen you, yourself catching up with members, and that's what it's all about. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And isn't it so fun? Isn't it so fun when you finally get face to face? Have you ever met her before? Or was this the first time that you guys had physically met?
We'd met before, but I know what you mean, because you spend so much time, communicating through, the community groups or on,
social
Zoom
media
calls. And you already instantly feel like you're connected, and, seeing people in real life, it feels so normal in some ways, but
right.
Yeah, we've had a great week.
It's crazy. Yeah, awesome. That's so fantastic. Yeah, so I'm sure for those of you that watch regularly, I am yet in another destination. This week I am filming guys from very fortunately Laguna Beach in California. I am doing a mom and daughter girls trip. My daughter's heading off to college in the fall, and we're getting to spend a week together here in California. And I was actually kind of bummed because I had after I had interviewed Monica Ruiz, as we all know, the Peloton wife from the commercial, Monica and I have remained friends, and we had planned to get to see each other. And unfortunately, she had a commitment with her son, and we couldn't get together. And I was so bummed because I was looking so forward to getting to see her live. As you said, we feel like we know everybody personally. And then actually so sweet. Kendall's mum, Susie Toole, and I have become great social media friends, and Susie's out in Palm Springs, and we had planned to connect and didn't get to see each other. And unfortunately, they ended up having house guests deciding to come this weekend. So I was bummed because those were certainly two folks that I would have loved to have connected with. But you know what? There's always next time. And there is no question I'll be back here. So yeah. Well, folks, before we get started with the news, we always like to remind you how you can get to keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode. If you do prefer to listen to us whilst on the move, every show is available on all podcast platforms. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV and hit the subscribe button. And finally, Facebook and Instagram, just search Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And with that, Tony, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Well, this week, friends, we kick off the news with the highly requested and much anticipated artist series that finally dropped. Peloton got the message as to what the community really, really wanted. None other than the Spice Girls. And the timing could not have been any more perfect as the drop coincided with the 25-year anniversary of their famous song Wannabe's release. There were a total of 9 classes, which included an epic ride from Leanne Hainsby, as we are going to talk much about coming up, as well as a German curated ride that was done by Myla Kind, a boot camp by Cody, a bar class with Hannah Marie Corbin, a core strength with Olivia, 2-for-1 yoga with Aditi and Anna, and a run with Bex. Well, the highlight, and of course this is in my opinion, and for those of you that watch the show regularly, you know how I feel, was absolutely Leanne's class. And you know, folks, she had the most live riders ever for one of her classes. Over 11,000 of you joined that ride. Over 65,000 in the first 24 hours. And since landing on demand, since it had gotten on demand. And at the time of recording the show, a cool 118,000 members have taken the class. So for me, that is just epic, absolutely epic. Leanne was in her element, and to say that she looked spectacular is an understatement, right? In her exclusively designed Spice Girls outfit with matching cycle shoes, she was a beauty, and it showed. It showed in her exuberant behavior on the bike, in how she curated that ride was honestly amazing. For those that got to ride live, they got to share the leaderboard and ride alongside none other than Mel B, better known as Scary Spice herself, who popped up as a special guest rider on the live ride. Mel had posted pre-ride on her social media that she would be joining, and she did not disappoint. And for all you hungry badge collectors, the absolutely awesome bright pink Spice Girls badge is being awarded for anyone jumping on any of the platforms. For those of you who follow me on social media, you'll know that I was gutted to miss Leanne's ride because I was, in fact, flying cross-country. But you know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. And it doesn't take much to pay the $19.99 for Wi-Fi on a cross-country flight. And get to watch the ride from start to finish live. And I did. Of course, my 18-year-old daughter thought that I was completely nuts, but I was not missing that ride for anything. And then was fortunate enough when I landed, was staying at a girlfriend who has a bike, of course. I mean, you just can't be my friend if you don't own a bike. So got to do it live that same afternoon. And I mean, it was just fantastic. So I know, Tony, you got to do that too. But for me, this was a much anticipated ride that we'd been waiting for. I mean, what did you think?
It was brilliant. I mean, we rode live. It was, the energy was amazing. Leanne was so, she was so full of fun. She clearly loves all things Spice Girls. She was dancing away. She looked amazing, by the way, in her outfit. You're absolutely right on the money there. And what a great ride. What a great ride.
Yeah.
All of those numbers, they just continue to grow, don't they? I couldn't believe the number of people riding live. Amazing.
I mean, unbelievable. And it was in the middle of the day, so it wasn't even a really convenient time. Certainly for you guys. No, for you guys, I guess it was evening. It was early evening. Excuse me. It was early evening. But for those folks, in the US and Canada, it wasn't a great time, and to have had that many folks jump on, live was amazing. I know that Cody's boot camp on Friday followed suit, and I didn't do it obviously because I don't have a bike here down in Laguna, but I had been following folks on social media, and I have to say he gave it his all. They also, Tony, joined on an Instagram Live on Thursday.
I saw it.
So him and Leanne, it was fantastic. And it was just fun because they just spoke about the Spice Girls. It had nothing to do with fitness. It had nothing to do with anything else. It purely had to do with both of their, immense love for everything Spice Girls.
I know.
And they were
did you see the picture of Leanne going down Oxford Street after the ride, taking photos and, giving it all of the Spice Girl poses? And can you imagine down the high street?
Could you imagine? I mean, on Oxford, it was amazing. And she did say that folks were like, hunking and waving and and saying hi. And I'm sure she must have just been, in her element. So, how perfect. I mean, how perfect for a Brit instructor to have gotten to do that. Somebody who, back when she was 9 years old, I mean, she goes back to saying when she was 9 that this was something that she had dreamed about. And when she joined Peloton in 2018, kind of put the bug in their ear back then, and it's taken this long to get them to do it. But you know what, Tony? Olivia Amato was the same way. On her social media, she spoke about how this was something that she grew up with, and she always had her inner Spice Girls, persona. And so it's amazing. It's amazing that so many of the instructors got to do this. And I am going to take Beck's run out on the beautiful coastal highway here that I have that I could do. So that's tomorrow's workout. But I think that it was just wonderful. So folks, if you haven't jumped on, I've kind of spoiler alerted because clearly that was going to be my pick of the week, and I didn't have much because obviously traveling it's a little hard to do much, But if you haven't taken it, make sure you jump on because it is a ride not to be missed, and I'm sure the other platforms are just as wonderful. So
brilliant. In more news, some news of a new generation bike screen on the horizon potentially, with Peloton recently filing some documentation with the FCC, which would indicate a refresh of the original bike tablet could be undergoing a bit of a refresh. No images, no drawings are available just yet, but Peloton has a 180-day confidentiality window, and that follows on from some separate filings last month for an update to the original Tread Plus tablet 2. So, not knowing if it's going to be a completely new generation tablet or whether it be a refresh of the current version, but it is unlikely to mean, should I say, that the correct bike tablets are going to become, redundant perhaps, or there's going to be, we'll see what comes soon, but a pretty exciting sort of update there.
It is exciting. I know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I love it that we kind of get this information and we're able to put it out there. So, so that is certainly
even the difference from, if you think about the original bike screen to the Bike Plus screen, and how that upgraded. It's pretty exciting. You wonder how they could make it better, really. But yeah, something to look forward to.
True. And it's funny because I know that you've had the privilege of having, being able to ride on both, and you still have that. And of course, my girlfriend that I had mentioned that I jumped on her bike had an original bike. And I did feel pretty lucky that I have the Bike Plus, because there was that, really nice upgrade that they did on the tablet. So you're right. I don't know how much better they can get, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
We will see.
So next up, folks, are we going to be seeing a new tread coach in the not too distant future? It was spotted on the app that a tread run was going to be by Coach Peloton D. Now, of course, we know that this doesn't necessarily mean a new coach announcement. Could be pending. It could just be a random placeholder account used for testing something. Or we had shared on the show previously that Daniel Yankee McKenna and Kirsten Ferguson were rumored to be joining Peloton, and perhaps this was for Daniel. So I guess we are just going to have to wait with bated breath, but HIHF, you heard it here first. So I guess we'll wait and see.
I was hoping to be able to, put in that little strap line somewhere first, but... No, you beat me to it.
I beat you to it, Tony.
I've been watching John for weeks with all his, his little one-liners and how can I fit these in, and make him proud this week while he's not available. So no,
well, you're making us all proud. You're making us all proud. Tell us what's up next.
Well, there's some interesting updates around music royalty costs, which. I must admit, when I saw this was quite eye-opening, because Slate have released an article called "How the Heck is Peloton the Best Paying Music Streaming Service?" And what it did do, it highlighted that Peloton's pay rate per stream based on the 2019 measurements was a whopping 3.1 cents. Comparatively, Spotify are 0.35 cents, Apple Music 0.68, YouTube 0.15 and Tidal 0.88. So quite a really big difference there. However, Peloton's market share by streams is still tiny at 0.07 versus a market leader, which is YouTube at 5.1. By revenue, 1.28 versus Spotify, who are greater than 44%. So I mean, I was quite surprised at some of those numbers, if I'm really honest. But interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you think about it. Think about how many folks are streaming music daily, whether it be on a ride, a run, a string. I mean, on every aspect of the platforms. Pretty amazing. Wow. Yeah. And folks, we are finally live down under. Wednesday, July 14th was a launch day in Australia. Both Sam Yo and Cody did special live rides in conjunction with Spotify to celebrate the official launch. Sadly, Australia has actually gone back down into complete lockdown. Now, my understanding, though, is that the stores were not actually ready for folks to come in. So they are still in final stages of completion as far as construction goes. And I'm sure with the fact of them now going back into lockdown is going to postpone that somewhat. But for folks to be able to at least go online and purchase the bikes, they are able to do so, and they can do it directly from the website. And hopefully within the next few weeks, depending on what happens with lockdown, the stores will eventually open. Now, from our understanding, they've only really given us Sydney neighborhoods as to which are the neighborhoods that are going to be opening up, soon. Melbourne have not given us any specific dates yet. So that's all a matter of waiting. And so the Bike Plus and bike will be available, though, in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and pretty much most of the metropolitan areas. The Bike Plus is a whopping 3,695 Australian dollars, while the original bike, again, just to reiterate, is 2,895. The monthly membership for Australian folks will be a cost of 59 Australian dollars. And for those that are interested in going digital initially before they make purchase, reminding them that there is a 3-month free subscription that they'd be able to get. So I definitely think it's exciting, because some stats that we have to report is that there have been roughly 200 bikes that were released early. So there were a bunch of folks that did get bikes prior to the launch on Wednesday. And it was reported that there were roughly 90 bikes that were sold in Sydney alone on launch day. So just some interesting numbers. I think it's going to pick up pretty quickly, as it did back in the day, certainly in the US, and you, Tony, would know, as far as the UK went, it was, it rocketed pretty quickly. Folks, and we're really excited, though, this week, because we have an interview on our Pelo Chat with Myza Wong, who was actually lucky enough to receive a bike early. So make sure that you guys watch to the end and don't miss our interview in Pelo Chat later on in the episode. So lots of exciting stuff coming out of Australia, and we're hoping that certainly with the chat with Myza, and now that they're being launched, we can get them involved in the communities. And I don't want to give away too much in Myza's chat, but it was actually pretty interesting how much she knew about the different, groups that were out there, and she has definitely become very entrenched in a very short period of time. So that was really exciting to get to see.
I've already seen a few of Myza's posts already through some of the groups, and little funny story for you. My little sister Jane emigrated with her family to Australia 8 years ago, and they live in.
Wow.
They live in a place called Secret Harbour, which is in Perth. And I was messaging Jane this morning going, right, so Peloton have arrived in Australia. Here's my referral code. When are you buying your bike? And she goes to the gym every day. She spins at the gym with a competitor, which is all I'll say. So I'm slowly sort of trying to influence her about the right way forward here. So watch this space.
Yeah, Tony, that is so cool. I did a new fact that I've just learned about you, having a sister down under.
Absolutely.
But that is so cool.
Yeah,
so we'll definitely have to make sure that Jane gets on the bandwagon. I mean, look, if she spends even half a minute looking at how much you have accomplished in this incredibly short period of time, and, for folks that are watching the show and have not watched previous shows, and I don't know the episode number, maybe you do, but you need to go back and watch Tony's interview, because you are an amazing story. Do you know which episode you were on, Tony?
Of course, number 8.
Episode 8, folks. Make sure you go all the way back to our early days. But yeah, Tony, I mean, your transformation was just
Thank you.
Incredible. So yeah. All right. So Peloton was back this past week with another installment of their official Broadway series. So far, the series has seen classes featuring the music from Hamilton, Wicked, and Rent. Now Peloton is featuring Lin-Manuel Miranda yet again, this time with the songs from his musical and newly released movie, In the Heights. Robin Arzon had recently interviewed Lin-Manuel and teased that this series of classes would be coming soon. That was just as the interview was wrapping up, and Peloton did not disappoint, because literally in conjunction with Robin getting back on the platform from her her maternity leave, she was fortunate enough to curate one of the mediums and was the on the bike. So she did the ride. But the Peloton in the Heights workouts do include, as I mentioned, Robin's ride, a run with Jess King, a yoga flow with Mariana Fernandez, Pilates with Ali King, and core strength with Emma Lovewell. So for those folks that love a good Broadway series, and In the Heights has just gained so much traction. And of course, you know, we're obsessed with Lin-Manuel Miranda here in the States. So yeah, it was exciting to see that come up so quickly.
Yeah, sounds great. And I don't know if you've seen, but there's a load more champion stuff come through as well on the platform. With for those who don't know, One Peloton do some blog updates as well, where you can go on and get some really useful and really great stories, you know, from various different sources. And Usain Bolt has put a blog in there around training with him, you know, so well worth, you know, going on and having a read of that if you haven't already. And likewise with Kathleen Baker Stack, another, you know, great blog in there around training with Kathleen as well. And finally, if anybody got a chance, you know, through the course of the last few days to ride with Hannah in one of her live rides with Usain Bolt as one of the special guests on the leaderboard, well, more to come. I will tell you a little bit about that later. But yeah, some great champion stuff coming through, you know, which is always brings an extra sort of, you know, bit of energy, you know, on the leaderboard, and a bit of a buzz about, you know, the hype, you know, in the lead up to it, with all of the social media posts which go on, and you know, all of that creates, you know, some great fun when you get on the leaderboard. So yeah, if you haven't taken, you know, any of those, go and have a look and see what you think.
Yeah, I am very curious to hear, because there was definitely some chatter about some competitive riding on that leaderboard, on that ride. So I'm curious to hear about your amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't want to beat the fastest man in the world, you know, on the leaderboard?
Right. Well, we know he's the fastest runner, but he's not the fastest cyclist. So
True.
there is a new king in town, and his leaderboard name is Cinco. We also saw actually just released this past week a new Verzuz series. This time we have 2 Chainz and Rick Ross. You can certainly do a 45-minute ride with Alec Toussaint that will be live. There will be a 30-minute full body strength with Chase Tucker, and that is going to be on demand. There is a 60-minute bike boot camp with Jess Sims. That's going to be released on July 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So that is what's going to be dropped, and certainly lots for folks to take. So yeah,
that boot camp sounds good. I've not done one of those for a while, I must admit. So that sounds like one to maybe go and have a go at.
Yeah, 60 minutes. Eek. I'm not joining you, Tony. I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, Jess Sims boot camps are just the bomb. There is no question. So that, I'm sure, is good. And the music's probably fantastic for something like that. So I could only imagine. Yeah, you'll have to share that with us. You'll have to share that with us down the road for sure.
Absolutely.
And then just to throw out there and mention, because we do like to mention this, we did see 2 lawsuits being mentioned this past week, Tony. The first one was one that was kind of interesting, because it was claimed as a class action lawsuit where there were 2 individuals that were pursuing this lawsuit against Peloton in that they were looking at filing a suit against Peloton in the violation of the law by advertising their ever-growing library, but having recently removed half of the content. The suit is a New York-specific lawsuit. One of the claimants is actually a woman that lives in Michigan, and hers was actually thrown out of court because the law is New York specific, and because she lives in Michigan, she doesn't have rights to claim against that. So there is a second individual that will pursue this claim, but the Michigan woman, unfortunately for her, not for Peloton, is unable to make that claim, which was kind of interesting. The second suit was a little sadder. It was that of a mother and father who had filed against Peloton, claiming that their 3-year-old son had sustained third-degree burns after he became trapped under the company's treadmill. So this was obviously prior to, the halt of the treadmill and, of course, the recall of the treadmill. But that was, clearly we don't want to see anything like that, but there was a second suit that had come out. And you can certainly head over to pelobuddy.com to read the full suit and hear more about the story. So that is as far as the news go. There, of course, is always some instructor information and instructor news that we like to share. And just to kind of throw that out to you folks, Ali Love had a very special week. She announced on her Instagram that she had been so overjoyed and excited to host the ESPYs this year. So that was a huge coup for Ali. And as we all know, she's gotten very involved as far as the basketball goes. And this was a huge coup for her, being a host on the ESPYs. Matt Wilpers was yet another instructor to be interviewed on Ali on the Run. So he got his time and shared that. Cody was interviewed for the Washington Post. And lastly, some other interesting instructor in the news. We've seen some of them, and we've certainly mentioned it to you guys. Christine Durkle had bought a new house, and she announced that on social media this past week. So that was really exciting as far as that goes.
And finally, it was Chase Tucker's Peloversary, celebrating 3 years of his time in the Peloton world. Can you believe it? 3 years. I mean, where did that go?
That's amazing. I know. And, Tony, I had mentioned last week, he got a huge shout out from Ellen on her Instagram. So it's amazing to see, we don't talk about Chase much. He's powerful in his strength and running. But it was lovely. And you're right. I mean, it just flies by. So congrats to Chase. Absolutely.
And it was funny, as you were just talking about all of the Peloton instructors and, all of the events which they've been involved with. They really are becoming global superstars, really, aren't they? With their followings and, their profiles raising. It's pretty incredible.
Amazing. I mean, they are getting snapped up all the time. But it's kind of cute, and we said this before, it's kind of cute as famous as we look at them and they're becoming, it's funny to see how they react to celebrities themselves. So I laugh about how excited Leanne was about having Mel B on her ride. And that was something that was, so huge. Yeah. Well, I guess that wraps up the news portion, Tony. Next up, my friend, is our picks of the week. And as my honorary guest, I am giving the floor to you to share your picks of the week first.
Yeah, brilliant. I've really been looking forward to sharing these. It's been a great week in all things Peloton platform. So my first pick was a Hannah Frankson Ride with Champions with Usain Bolt, which was on Thursday the 15th. And, Usain Bolt, the fastest runner in the world, who wouldn't want to get on the leaderboard and compete with him? Now, interestingly, you could follow him on the leaderboard and you could keep a close eye on, how he was going. And he actually posted in his Instagram afterwards that he got a PR, no less. So I know everybody will have been keen to have seen that. So, go and have a look at what he did, and then you can really, you know whether you'll have beaten the fastest man in the world. But some of the cues which Hannah was prompting everybody in the ride with were pretty fun, actually, because, we were talking about in 10 seconds, 9.5 seconds, Usain would have ran 100 meters and, we'd do an interval for that length of time. And there was something similar for 200 meters, and the fact that he could run that in 19 seconds. And once again, Hannah was just full of fun and full of energy. Even kind of popped in a little Tabata section, if I remember rightly, in there. And I know how you love your Tabata, Amanda. So I'm sure at some point you're going to be straight in there to do that ride when you get a minute. So an absolute superb ride, and one that I would really encourage everybody to go and have a go of. And
awesome.
My second one, and as Leanne is to you, Ben is to me. Ben did a house ride on Wednesday the 14th, and as we all know, Ben as an ex-DJ, an amazing, kind of curator of playlists and house music, dance music, EDM being, like one of his favourite genres. Well, just another amazing playlist inspired by Ministry of Sound, and as John would say, full of bangers and belters, absolutely guaranteed, so again, 30 minutes of house, 30 minutes of Ben, guaranteed to be an amazing workout, amazing music, and again, just an awesome ride.
Fantastic. Wow. Yep. I definitely want to do the bends. I may take a miss on the Hannah ride when I get back. And of course, I have 6 days with no bike. So I am dying inside of me because it's going to be fun to get back on and try and catch up. But yeah, I think that's the Ben's rides, the Ben's house rides are phenomenal. So I will definitely add that one to a catch up next week when I get back. So my picks this week are for sure. I mean, it just wouldn't be right if my first pick was not Leanne's Spice Girls ride. That 30-minute ride had everything and the rest in it. Again, we spoke about it at the beginning of the show, but if you haven't done it, what the hell are you waiting for? Go and do it now. It truly was a phenomenal ride. So that would definitely be my first pick of the week. I am also adding Robin's Together. Excuse me, and let me make sure I say it correctly, but Robin, being back on the platform, did her Together We Ride. She did her debut, Together We Ride. I won't give away any secrets, but there was a very special guest at the end of the ride, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. She was, just exuding a level of enthusiasm, and I don't even know how to explain how she was on the ride, but she was excited to be back, and we were excited to have her back. So that is definitely my second picks of the week. I'm a huge proponent, folks. You've heard me say this a million times, of warm-ups and cool-downs. So if you love Spice Girls, there is Leanne's 5-minute Spice Girl cool-down, which had some songs that weren't kind of the popular songs, but were amazing that she threw those in. So to end off your workout, it's so important to do those cool down rides. So I do encourage you to do that one and just kind of tag it on to the ride. And then lastly, being away on holiday, I'm going to throw in there an oldie but a goodie. So what I'm trying to do is utilize the platform in my ear on the road. I am fortunate enough to be in gorgeous Laguna Beach, as I mentioned. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll get to see the beautiful scenery that I'm getting to see. But I took Rebecca Kennedy on the road with me this morning, and I did a 30-minute fun pop walk. And we forget about those. And that really is an oldie. It is back from 2019. It was July 18th, which was kind of ironic that it was literally 2 years ago, almost to the day. In fact, as it is to the day as we record and we release this on Sunday. But the music was amazing, and she's so fun to walk with. It was a fun walk, and I encourage you guys to go back to those types of things and look at the platform. to when you aren't able to jump on the bike or the tread, but to have a way of keeping up and making sure you don't miss out on those little blue dots. So those are my picks for this week, Tony.
Yeah, awesome. And a huge warm welcome back to Robin, who's, been, sadly missed, but amazing to see her back, in those classes. And, I was just thinking as you were just saying about, being so far away from home and how versatile the app is, and you don't miss out on those blue dots, you don't miss out on that workout. That's what's so amazing about Peloton, isn't it?
100%. 100%. It just gives us an opportunity to keep active. And again, I mean, for both you and I are folks that have, lost a tremendous amount of weight, were never particularly, physical and fit prior to jumping on the Peloton platform. It's not even a question. I mean, every morning my mom's like, okay, what's your workout going to be today? And 2 years ago, it would never have been a discussion. So, but interestingly enough, and I could possibly have put it in as a pick of my week. I didn't, but I will share. And something different that I did. So as I said, I have my 18-year-old daughter with me. And one of the things that I've never attempted is anything cardio. So any of the HIIT cardios, anything like that. But Nicole does love to do anything that involves dancing. So she's obviously often done those, the dance cardio workouts, but she does do the HIIT. She was like, come on, Mom, join me and do a HIIT. Tony, I did a 20-minute Olivia HIIT from just this past week. I believe it was from Tuesday. I thought that I was going to die, like literally die. And I looked at her and I said, I thought that I was fit. I honestly thought, you put me on the bike and I can ride for hours. That was so hard. So I guess it is important to, and you're a huge one for doing that, in mixing up your workouts and trying different things. But that was definitely something that maybe step back and go, wow, I really should be doing more of that. Yeah. So for you folks that, just ride the bike or just, stick to one medium on the platform, try different things, because there's no question that it does show you the different levels, of fitness that one has.
100%. And Olivia is, an absolute firecracker, in the Spice Girls theme, she really does spice up your life. She is absolutely full of energy. She is next level, isn't she? She is something else.
Beyond.
Yeah.
So, maybe I'll try that next, since I love the Spice Girl music. So maybe I will try that next. But I'm still recovering from the HIIT that I did this past week. So we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll see where we go. Well, folks, that is it from us. Please stay on and watch our amazing interview with Myza Wong, our new Australian member to the community. We love having members on, and it was amazing to have somebody from one of our new communities on there. So next up is Pelo Chats with Myza Wong.
Let's get to know another person behind the leaderboard name in Pelo Chats.
And now it's time, folks, for Pelo Chat. And this week, I am so pleased to welcome our very first Australian community member, Myza Wong. Myza, welcome. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. How are you?
I am super, and I am so thrilled that we have the opportunity to do this with our crazy time differences. This was quite quite a mission to try and get us to do this. So as folks, you can see, I am not in my usual place. I am actually on vacation on the west coast of the States in beautiful Laguna Beach. And I was determined that we were going to have our Pelo Chat this week, because how exciting with the launch of the Australian Peloton community just this past week. We wanted to do this, and we were so thrilled that we got Myza on. So you know what, Myza? No one wants to hear from me. Everyone wants to hear from you. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor and have you tell us just a little bit about yourself. Who are you? And just give us a little bit of a synopsis.
So I'm living in Sydney, 45 years old. I'm married. I have a 17-year-old daughter about to finish high school and go into uni next year. And I decided I wanted a Peloton years ago when I saw it everywhere on social media. But I've always been an active child and an active teen, You grew up in Australia and you just want to be outdoors. So you're always at the beach, cycling. But for high school, I actually competed gymnastics. So that was my sport, and dancing. And as I got older and I had my daughter, I started becoming more of a gym junkie. And I discovered I loved running and I loved spin sessions. So then I started doing that, and that's how I started getting into a more traditional style of sport or exercise. Anyway, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you've always been active. You'd always been active, and I don't want to give too much away. And if you're comfortable chatting about it, I know that you had a little bump in the road at one point, and your exercise was halted. So if you want to share that with us, I'm sure the community would love to know how you got back on your feet.
So we're part of a triathlon club, Balmoral Triathlon Club. And my husband and my daughter, she was 5 at the time, she started getting into running as well. So she joined the club. My husband started getting into triathlons. Then, little triathlon club races, then went on to do Ironmans and all that. And my daughter decided she was going to do the little races. So I thought, well, why don't I? I mean, I'm not a great swimmer, but okay, why not? But on the first day of the season and the club training session, I actually had a really bad accident. I slipped down at what's called the baths at the beach, and from what they tell me, someone found me. I was unconscious. For roughly maybe 20 minutes or so. I woke up in the ambulance. So I hit the back of my head pretty bad. So was in hospital for a little bit, really bad concussion, to the point where I was in a dark room for 6 months. Nothing stimulating. So even talking would tire me out. People would come and visit. They were really lovely. People would come and visit and, try to cheer me up. But all I could think was I'm in so much pain. My head was pounding. And I was really out of it. And it took maybe about 2 years to be where I am now. So there are still days where I get really tired. I have vertigo now. So I couldn't exercise, and that was it, for years. But I think I was okay to exercise after maybe 2 years. But by then I was done. I was like, no, I'm okay. So I got really lazy. And then I'd try, and I'd be like, no, I don't really like doing that anymore. And then I saw Peloton. And I was like, you know what? I really want that. So last year I started back on my training again because of COVID. So we have the treadmill and some gym stuff, but nothing really motivates me or gets me going. I don't know. There was just I don't know. It just wasn't the same. But yeah, so that's my backstory. So I'm in my journey back to fitness.
That's amazing. I mean, that certainly is a story, and it just shows that one can overcome. And I guess it brings us back, and being new on the platform for you, you'll certainly see very quickly how addictive the Peloton platform is. You've already told me before we started the interview, and you'll share that with me in a minute. But I'm curious to know, being in Australia, how you actually got to learn about Peloton and initially, and then I'd love for you to share with us how Peloton has become something in Australia that folks are now talking about. So first, tell me, how did you actually come about Peloton? How did you hear about it?
So prior to my injury, as I mentioned, I was a bit of a gym junkie. So I'd go to Fitness First and spend maybe 3 hours a day there with some friends, and do spin classes. But one of my spin buddies moved to the US. And so she started posting on social media this stationary bike that was nothing like I'd ever seen before. And she was telling me all about it. And I was like, wow, I really want one. Just because, she had one, I want one. And it just wasn't here yet. And I was constantly kind of looking it up on the internet to see if it was ever going to come to Australia. Then again, on social media, I started seeing more and more people post about Peloton. All these fitness people, friends of mine on Instagram that were, really into sport, suddenly, or cycling and running, had a Peloton. And I was like, I really want one. When is it going to come here? It just looks so much fun. And also it just looks like such a huge community of people that were just supporting each other. And I think that's what really drew me to it, was that it was just a community all over the world, connected somehow. And so I just kept Googling and saying Peloton Australia, Peloton Australia, Peloton Australia. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, so obviously now you've heard about Peloton and you've been, waiting patiently. How did you first hear about it actually being launched anticipate the launch in Australia? How did that actually come about?
It was strange. I was in a store one day, and my mother-in-law was with me, and she said that she was looking to get on a stationary bike, and it was another brand, and I said, I'm waiting for Peloton. I wonder if they're going to come. And her husband said they're going to come in 2021, and I was like, what? I'm Googling this. So then right away I took out my phone, and sure enough, it said that it was launching, and if you were interested, to put your email in. So I think I must have gone in once a week and put my email.
and spammed Peloton International, tell me when it's coming.
I was just like, here's my email. And then about, 5 weeks, almost 5 weeks ago, I suddenly got an email saying, hey, we have X amount of bikes, like 200 bikes. We'd like to offer you an early release. And I was like,
oh
yes.
My word, that's amazing. So you really were one of the first adopters. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. So you said, sign me up. Tell me when it can be delivered.
Exactly. And he said 2 to 3 weeks. And I was like, what? That's going to be the longest wait ever.
Right.
4 days later, it arrived. So it's actually today, 4 weeks ago, it arrived.
Oh my word, that's so cool. That is so wonderful. So you really had, because it just got launched this past, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? When was Wednesday, I believe, the 14th,
Wednesday,
right?
14th, yes.
Right. So you had it for a full 4 weeks before everybody else got it. And what do you think?
I love it. Oh my God. I was actually a little bit apprehensive after I ordered it. I was like, I don't know, will I really use it? Because last year I bought this giant road bike, started cycling and really didn't get into it. And I was like, am I going to use it? Then it arrived, and I keep looking here because that's where my bike is. And I just looked at it, and I was like, that's it. I put on my gym clothes. As soon as the guys left who set it up for me, put on my gym clothes, and I put on a program, Discover Your Power Zone. And that was
interesting.
I was like, what else can I do today? And what else can I do today? I think I do. My husband's like, you're obsessed. You do like 7 or 8 things a day. And I was like, yeah, I'm playing
Wow.
around and discovering
Myza, that's
things.
amazing.
So
That is
yes.
truly phenomenal how quickly, I mean, it certainly took me a little bit more time than that. So it's pretty amazing that it actually did. And my understanding is that you guys have actually gone back down into lockdown.
Yes.
From what I'm hearing from everybody. So the timing couldn't have been more perfect because I know that there was a reprieve. You kind of were doing really well in Australia, and all of a sudden you guys got that blimey Delta variant, and things have gone back to being quite scary. So the fact that you're able to work out and none of your friends can go into the gym is pretty cool.
Well, the thing is, I was telling Chris was that it got delivered the day before we went into lockdown.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I was really so happy because
Really
the next
lucky.
day they announced that we were going to be in lockdown, and I was like, oh my god, nope. Actually, the gentleman who sold me this bike, who he said I could have, because I was saying I was a little bit apprehensive, and he said, no, you've got 30 days to try it, and you can return it. He goes, but I assure you, you won't. So I touched
Right.
base with him after the first day, and I said, hey, Joey, I'm not returning this. I said, you were right.
I know.
I'm 100% not returning this at all.
And I think just knowing that one has that 30-day money back refund if they're not satisfied gives you just the peace of mind to know, you know what, I can get it, and hey, if it's not great. But I certainly do not know I don't personally know anybody that's returned their bikes. So now I'm curious, did you end up getting the bike or the Bike Plus?
Bike Plus. I figured if I was going to get one,
You were going all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
I
want to
agree.
go, oh, I only got the bike.
Why
I
didn't
should've
I get
gone the Bike
that?
Plus. Yeah.
Sure. No, that's brilliant. And then the stores are now open. So now what will happen with lockdown? I guess they can't actually open them. So what's happening with that?
Well, because I actually don't know if it opened. I know they launched. So they were taking orders because I keep in touch with people with them. And on day one, I wished them well. I said, hey, I hope you guys smash it out today because I know that a lot of people are wanting this. And yesterday I had a chat, and they said that they sold about 90 bikes on the first day.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if the store itself opened, but online everything is open. So delivery might just take a little bit longer with the whole COVID situation. But I'm not sure about the store because I was going to go to the store the day it launched on Wednesday, but because we're in lockdown,
Right.
I was like, I'll have
couldn't do
to
it.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah, because you wanted to have something Peloton to wear for the interview, right?
I have nothing. I'm waiting for some gear.
You're so cute. So I'm going to let you into a secret, which you can share with, not really a secret, but I'm going to let you into some info, which you can share with all your Australian friends. There is a wonderful incentive program that Peloton offers, which is a referral code. And when you purchase your bike, you get your referral code. You get 12 codes for the year. And for every purchase that somebody makes using your referral code, they get $100 off. And you get $100 credit to the Peloton apparel store. So it is definitely a way. So post away on social media, tell your friends and family how wonderful the Peloton is, and always kind of slip in there if you want to get one, because honestly, Myza, between you and me, that's how I have gotten pretty much my entire wardrobe of Peloton gear is through the referral codes. And always I'm a little bit sneaky because I use my husband's referral code now, and because I was done with mine, so it was like, okay, how do we keep going? So some tips I can certainly give you for that.
I'll be like, you get a code, you get a code. Everybody gets a code.
Everybody gets a code. That's awesome. So I'm curious, when they sold you the bike, did they tell you about that incentive? Did they tell you about that incentive program?
No, actually, I think I was just a little bit too excited to get off the phone and tell everybody I got one. So I
Right.
actually reached out back to the guy, and I was like, "Hey, a friend of mine in the U.S." She said, "Did you get your referral code?" And I was like, "No, what is it?" And so I was like, "Hey, Joey, do I have a referral code?" And he's like, "Yeah, you do." And then he told me all
Awesome.
about it. And so I'm like, "Okay, my mother-in-law wants a bike. She gets a code. Everybody gets. My
Yeah,
sister will get a
yeah.
code."
That's
So yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And honestly, I mean, you will start to see what is so amazing is that the borders become non-existent. I mean, you will see, certainly we've striked up a friendship and we'll follow each other, and you'll see you will have friends from Canada, friends from the US, friends from the UK, and certainly folks in Germany and the rest of Europe who've been able to get bikes. And it is wonderful to build this community. Certainly from the Power Zone perspective, they're a very, very strong, tight community that definitely get involved in social media, because that will give you a wonderful spectrum of what folks are doing and the help. And go back and watch one of my previous episodes. I have to remember which one it is now, but where I actually interviewed the most amazing couple who met through the Power Zone, two single folks, and they are getting married next month.
Oh my God,
So
that's amazing.
isn't that amazing through pandemic and lockdown and everything? So it's very exciting.
On the Cody, because Cody did the live ride for our launch on
Yes.
Wednesday, and I just had to hop on that one. And a girlfriend who I met through social media, so I haven't seen her face to face. I told her I was going to hop on, so she's in San Francisco. She hopped on, and we video chatted at the start of the ride, and we were so excited. My husband came running into the room going, "What's wrong?" I was like, "No, my friend, I can see her.
Yes.
We're working out together." And I just thought it was so fantastic. We were both so excited because we don't know if we'll ever get to meet each other face to face with the way
It's
now.
amazing. You know what? It is amazing, Myza. You will see that the way people have connected, the communities that have been built, and the friends that folks have made have truly been amazing. And the story, I mean, that's just one story, of the couple that met. But certainly, I know for myself. I mean, wherever I go, I am meeting up with Peloton members. As I said, it's not a cult, folks. It's a community of like-minded, obsessed folks, and that's what it is, which is just amazing.
I said to
So,
my
any
husband,
questions that you have? Any questions that you have for me as far as what what you need to know, or what you'd like to know? It sounds like you have a pretty good group.
You guys break the news. I know that you broke the news about Australia before anyone else did. When is the tread coming to Australia?
That is certainly a big
that.
question, and truthfully, we're still waiting for it to be re-released here in the States. When they did go ahead and pulled it, they gave folks that kind of strong halt that there was no treads being sold. But we're crossing our fingers and hoping that we'll get it back here in the States. Soon, and then I'm sure that once we have that, back to normal and people feel more comfortable and about it, then I'm sure that Australia will be next to get it. But I think there were so many kinks, and to be honest with you, we went through such an ordeal in time lapse and waiting for bikes. People were waiting 12 weeks to get their bikes.
Wow.
I think they want to focus on you guys getting your bikes, and then once the bikes and the release of the bikes are in a nice momentum, I'm sure that they'll do the treadmill. So yeah, enjoy the bike for now. And as we said, the platform is so vast that it's not just the bike. You get to do so much on the platform. And I did take a sneak peek at your profile to see, and I saw how amazing you have just adopted everything. I mean, from strength classes to meditation to a little bit of everything. I will share with you. So I'm a big, I love my bike and I try and do as much strength and stuff, and I meditate a lot. But one of the things I'd never done was HIIT. And of course, I don't have my bike here. So I also have, well, mine's 18-year-old, but I also have a daughter just like you, who's just graduated high school and heading off to college. And part of my trip here was a gift to her before she heads off to college. I wanted a mom and daughter trip that we could have together, which is so fun. But she said, come on, Mom, you've never done a HIIT class. Do this with me. That's what she does. She doesn't love the bike, but she does. She's a big dancer. So oh my, I thought I was fit. She put me through, and it was just a 20-minute Olivia Amato HIIT class. I thought that I was going to die. And I'm here with my parents, and my mother is watching her and me do this HIIT class, and I'm like dying. The sweat is pouring down, and I'm thinking to myself, oh God, here I claim that I'm so fit. So I mean, it's a wonderful platform that one can adopt and one can get.
Yeah,
so,
there's something for everyone, for sure. I mean, my daughter hops on the bike and she does the core and all these other stuff. My husband, he doesn't hop on the bike because he does a specific Ironman training program, but he'll go in and do strength and stretching.
Awesome.
Strength for runners, stretching. And on Sundays, we now kind of do something together in the room. My daughter will put her headphones on, be on the bike, and my husband and I will have the iPad on and do like a stretch and a strength session together.
It's amazing that one can do, it's amazing that one can do all of that. So that is truly fantastic. So it looks like you have definitely been a fish to water. There is no question that you jumped right in and are utilizing the platform to its fullest. So that is truly, truly amazing. Next up, I'll be seeing you on social media in your Peloton gear, and you will just label you a newbie Peloton junkie.
Yeah, head to toe. The only thing I need to do now is like my room. As you can see, my room is really bare, like super bare, because I had this kind of stripped when I got ordered the bike, so I could put everything that I wanted in it. But I see everybody with like on social media with these fabulous things on their walls.
So I'm going to give you the tricks. I'm going to give you the tricks, and that is Etsy. So Etsy allows folks to order stuff for whether it be your leaderboard name, and we'll get to that at the end of the interview, but whether it be your leaderboard name, whether it be accessories for the bike, Etsy is amazing in getting all the fun things
Awesome.
that you can add to that. So
I'll be on Etsy as soon as we're done.
Well, you're just starting your day, which is just so bizarre to me, as it's the middle of my day the day before. The whole time difference. And I think, for you guys, for right now, it's going to be based on on-demand classes and kind of, really doing that more than being live until we get a routine going. And that you're able to get a routine going. So well, let's go ahead and move on to the last little bit segment of the chat that we love to do, Myza. And what we do is we do just something really fun. It is called our 60-second descent and recovering. I fire away a bunch of questions, and you are going to give me the answers. It certainly is early days for you, so I don't expect you to have too much. Although, since you're new at it, it may actually be really fun. You'll have 60 seconds to do it in, and it's just a fun way of us ending up the show. So I just saw the counter just pop up on the screen. So let's go. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Favorite instructor?
Matt Wilpers. Oh, and Cody
Nice.
Rigsby. Can I have two?
You can have two. Co-favorite instructors. High cadence or high resistance?
High cadence.
Early bird rider or night owl?
Early bird.
meditation or strength training?
Strength.
This is great. So this is a tricky one because you don't have too many options, but live or on-demand classes. If you could choose, which would you prefer?
Live. I did one live with Cody, and it was amazing.
Awesome.
If I had the option.
All right. Yep. And I'm sure in time you'll get there. First class you ever took?
The Power Zone, Discover Your Power Zone with Matt Wilpers.
Awesome. And what's been your favorite class that you've taken so far?
Spice Girls with Leanne.
Oh, yay!
It was so much fun.
You've made my day. And that wraps it up for the 60 seconds, but you've made my day. Wasn't that ride absolutely phenomenal?
She made it so fantastic. I mean, I love the Spice Girl music as it is, but she was just amazing. Yeah,
She was truly, yeah. I have to say that, I mean, the way she looked, the way the ride was curated, the amazing music, her energy, this was a dream of hers from the day she started at Peloton. So it was definitely something that she really wanted to do. So,
if I could pull off that outfit, I'd do it as well.
Right. We all wanted to know where she got the outfit from. And in fact, she did an Instagram live this past week. And she did say that it was a specifically, done for her, and that she had it made, and it was sewn in. She was literally sewn into it, and she said if the ride had gone any longer, she probably would have struggled. So yeah.
Oh, no, that was awesome.
Well, with that, Myza, you have been so wonderful, and I'm so appreciative that you took the time and messed up your workout so that you could be on the on with us. But our most important question for you, Myza, is what's your leaderboard name?
It's fit_fun_mum, MUM.
Love it. And you are definitely the fit and fun mum that is doing this. And it has truly been one. I know you're going to get a bunch of new followers. I am certainly going to be following you as soon as you are off. And you know what? It is fun. It's a community-based, based activity that the more involved with the community you get, the more you get out of it. And I reiterate that to everybody because I have noticed folks that haven't, they have their bike and they do their stuff, but they haven't gotten community-based and they don't understand how I am so obsessed as I am. And I said the community is what makes it. That is truly, and we've been so fortunate to have met some amazing people. So you keep doing what you're doing. I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you on social media, and maybe we get you back in a couple months' time and hear how many bikes you were responsible for selling, and how you are doing on the platform. But from us here in the States, we wish you all the best and really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. That was really fun.
You are so welcome.
So what an amazing interview with Myza, our Australian member. Absolutely brilliant to get to know more about her. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, she really was. And it's actually quite funny because her real name is actually not Myza, it's Melissa. But she said that her niece could never pronounce her name. So she adopted the name Myza, and that became her name. And I'm like, well, do you want me to use that in the interview? And she was like, hell yeah, that's going to be my name. So
I love that.
Isn't that so cute? That was so cute. But yeah, it was wonderful too. And hopefully her being on the show will help promote this to the Australian community, and hope that they will jump on the Pelo Buddy bandwagon and get to hear all the fun and interesting news each week that we report on. So Tony, again, my friend, thank you so much. This has been so fun. You were a rock star. I have no complaints. You can be my constant a celebrity guest that I get on to co-host with me. John better be careful. I mean, I don't know. I like to interview. I got to make sure John watches the show so he steps up his game, right?
Yeah. Look, from next week, Kenny Banya will be back next week. All guns blazing, and back in normal service will be resumed.
Service will be resumed. But Tony, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, whether it be on podcast form or whether you get to see Tony and my beautiful mugs on our YouTube channel. We do appreciate that you take the time to watch and listen. So from me here in beautiful Laguna Beach, I will say bye for now.
And from me in the UK, take care and see you soon.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.